Hi, this is Shoshanah Shear from beahappymom.com, and in today's video I wanted to bring to you a story. We're going to be looking at some beautiful images to help you through the story, so do please watch the screen, because as opposed to this just listening to the story, you will gain something from listening to the story, but I've intentionally added in a number of clips. One of the things I've been wanting for quite some time now to share the story of Avraham and how he managed to think out and discover God, the creator of the universe. So I'm noticing a lot with these trying times we're living in with the virus. Many people are finding it difficult to listen to restrictions. How can we believe that there is actually a virus when we don't see the virus? We might see and hear results, statistics, but how do I know that my action is going to make a difference? How do I know what my purpose is? How do I know what kind of purpose can there be to all this change that's taking place in the world? Well, let's take a look back again at some of the beginnings of the book of Bereshit. Right at the beginning of Bereshit, which is the first book of the Chumash of the Bible, and there's some interesting stories, and I'm going to just summarize very, very briefly a little bit of the very beginning. We'll come back to that in a future video, but today I want to concentrate on somebody who came about 20 generations into the beginning of the world. So we learn that on the sixth day of creation, God created man, Adam. And this person, this man, had direct contact with God. He was given one commandment, which he struggled to be able to fulfill, but he still was absolutely 100% sure and certain that there was a creator to this universe, because he was in constant direct contact with God. We're taught in the Torah that 10 generations after the creation of Adam, the first person, came his great grandson 10 generations later with the name of Noah. Now, Adam, as we say, he was in contact with God, but through part of the difficulty, the mistake that he made, the Avera, the first sin, came about the problem with moving away from doing what it is that God wanted us to be doing. And as a result, there was a lot of corruption that took place in the world, a lot of engaging in all sorts of activities which were not ones that God would want us to be doing. How can you be doing what it is that the master of the universe is wanting you to do if you're not recognizing that there is a master to the universe? It makes sense in many ways. So as a result, the behavior and the actions of people became more and more corrupt, more and more immoral, more and more problematic, and so there was a great flood. Now, at the time of Noah, at the end of the flood, there's a covenant that's made between, an agreement, so to speak, between God and Noah, and so there came about 7 commandments that all human beings have to keep. And the first of those commandments is to recognize that there is only one creator, one God, who's in charge of everything. This is a commandment for everybody. And so let us have a look at somebody 10 generations after Noah, and let's follow a little bit of his thought process in order to come to figure out how is it that we can recognize that there is a God, that there is a master of the universe. So we're taught in a midrash that Avraham grew up initially in a cave. In another video, if you're interested, we'll go into why it is that he grew up in a cave. But on one particular day, Avraham decided that he was going to start to he needed somebody to serve. Who was in charge? Why was it that he was in this cave? Who was it that was providing all of his needs? What was his role? What should he be doing in the world? And so Avraham, who at that stage was called Avram, the hey of Avraham is added later on, and Avram, as he was then, but we're going to refer to him as Avraham, he started to contemplate and to look and to observe a number of details in nature, and these details and this observation helped him to recognize that there is a master of the universe who is in control of absolutely everything. And let's have a look at some of his thought process. Initially, Abraham started to look at the land. He looked at the plants and the produce, the fruits and the vegetables, which are the items that we eat in order to sustain ourselves. And so initially, Abraham thought, could it be that the produce, the plants and the fruit that produce these fruits and vegetables for us, is this the one that I should be serving? After all, the tree that has fruits laden on it is providing me with food to eat. So perhaps I should be serving the plants and the produce. Amazing variety of fruits and vegetables that we do have in this world. And Avraham looked at all of these trees, these plants, these produce, the plants that are edible, that provide us with our sustenance. And he came to realize that these plants are not able to grow on their own. They're not able to provide the nutrients on their own. They need to have rain. And so Avraham started to look at the weather. And he started to recognize that there's something more that the land requires in order for these plants and these trees and the produce to be able to grow and to provide the nutrients that we need. So from there, Avraham started to look at various details of the climate and the weather. And he started to recognize that there was more to the rain. The rain required wind, it required the clouds, which provide the droplets to come out of it, which we call rain. And there's a difference as to how this rain falls. It could be soft, gentle rain. It could be heavy rain. And the way that it falls is going to make a difference as to how the plants grow, the extent to which the soil is providing the nutrients that we need. And so Avraham looked at the weather, at the rain, and he realized that the clouds don't last in the sky all of the time. There's the sun, and the sun has a role to play. And perhaps he should be serving the sun. So Avraham started to look at the sunrise and this beautiful sun with the warmth that it provides us, and the fact that the sun's rays enable the plants to grow. And Avraham considered and looked at all of these details and wondered, is it the sun that I need to be serving? From there, Avraham realized that as the sun set at the end of the day, the moon came up, or the moon was present in the sky. And Avraham realized that there's a change that takes place in the sky. Is it the sun that I should serve? Is it the moon that I should serve? But as this moon, as the night progresses and the nightfall starts to change, during the night you're able to see all of the stars, which also have their role to play, and you're able to see all sorts of different details in this night sky. And Avraham started to realize that the night sky changes and it reveals the day again. And so there's a cycle that takes place. And who is it that's in charge? How do we know how long, how many hours there should be for the night and for the day? How do the sun and the moon and the stars know when there should be a change between the one and the other? How do they know when it should be that the clouds are going to be forming and the rain should be falling, and the rain is producing this water that nourishes the earth and allows the earth to produce, to have a change that takes place with the seeds that are in the earth and allows the plants to grow. And of course, there aren't only plants in this beautiful world. We also have all sorts of animals. And who's in charge of all of the animals, all of the details, from the bees that are busily buzzing around from flower to flower and enabling us to have the pollen that spreads. The bees have a number of roles to play. They spread the pollen from one plant to another and enable reproduction to take place between the plants, and also there's the growth of and the production of the honey. There are all sorts of things, and of course the bee is only one very small little creature that we're looking at. There's so many creatures that take place. So Avraham considered and looked at all of the details and all of the amazing miracles that are taking place in every moment of every day. And of course, these details are taking place across our entire globe, not only the globe, but also if we have a look at not only on the land, in the sea as well, and we can have a look at a couple of the details inside the sea, the coral and the seaweed and the fish, and so many details under the waters that we're not really seeing unless we're going to dive into the sea and be able to look at it right inside, all of the details that are invisible to us unless we're within the sea. And Abraham's thought process extended till he realized there must be a creator who's one, whose wisdom is greater than all of us, who is able to be in charge of all of these details at every moment of every day, and is in charge not only of the details taking place in one given time span, but across time. He's in charge of past, present, and future all at the same time. An absolutely incredible thought to consider, but it is the truth. And so let us learn from the thought process of Avraham Avinu, and let it inspire us, and let us help us to be able to recognize that there is a master and infinite wisdom that's in charge of all of these details. And instead of us getting in a panic and getting over concerned as to what's all the changes that are taking place in today's time, let us start to learn what it is that this master of the universe wants from us. Because if we're living our lives according to God's will as opposed to our will, then we can be able to be in touch with all sorts of infinite, amazing miracles, wonders taking place all of the time. And when we start to recognize that there is a higher being, then following directions or rules or guidelines for us, whether it is that we're needing to wear a mask at this stage when we go out and we do our shopping or whatever it is we're doing, or whether we need to be at home and involved in certain activities at home. In a previous video, I showed some activities you can be involved in as we prepare for Pesach. Of course, time has passed on, and now we're starting to come towards the 3 weeks. There are a new time span, there's new guidelines that we need to consider. So join me in another video where we'll look a little bit more at some of the directions for us as to how we should be spending our lives. And let us be able to fill our minds and our thoughts with the realization that there is a higher being. He is one. He has infinite wisdom. He is infinite. His mind and his wisdom and his thoughts and his desires are far greater than we could ever imagine, than we could ever consider. What we have managed to learn from this video is that there is one being in charge of all of this, in charge of all of the details, all of the time. And so we don't need to be stressing and worrying about what will be. Let us rather follow humbly with God, do things God's way, and allow him to allow the details to unfold in the most beautiful possible way that there could be, as only God can do for us. So I hope you'll join me in another video where we'll be looking at a little bit more, bringing these stories to life and learning how it is that we should be living in this world so that we can be experiencing and enjoying the miracles and the wonders instead of following the path of those who ignored God. And the path that led to was At some stage, it was the Great Flood. We have also other hints of God's anger, God's wrath, God's reminder that God is in charge. And we'll look in another video of some of those reminders that we get regularly in today's time of God letting us know that He is in charge and He is aware of what's taking place. There's some actions He likes, there's some actions He doesn't like. So let's learn what it is that God wants from us so that we can learn and discover how to live a life of meaning and purpose, and let our lives be imbued with this feeling, this excitement, this acknowledgement that our Creator is all-powerful and provides such amazing wonders every moment of every day. I hope to see you in another video. If you've liked this video, do give it a thumbs up, do press like, make a positive comment, let your friends know, and of course there are links below as to how you can join us to be able to help us to produce more of these videos by visiting our online store or our other websites. So that's Shoshanah Shear from beahappymom.com, which is the women's division of Chesed Be'emet, and I look forward to seeing you in another video. Ciao for now, and have a very blessed day.